A guten Erev Shabbos. Well, if you've seen the movie, then you certainly remember the drama. Moses, in this case Charlton Heston, comes down from the mountain and sees the Jewish people misbehaving. I know, it's hard to imagine, but in a moment of wrath or righteous anger or whatever it was, Moses smashed the tablets with the Ten Commandments. Now, if you go look on YouTube to watch this dramatic scene, you see Hollywood taking some license. The earth opening up and swallowing people as Parshas Korach, not here, a few other quibbles. In other words, as is usually the case, the book is much, much better than the film. Highly recommend the book. So, in our reading of the book this week, Parshas Eikev, we hear Moses' own recounting of the events that took place in Parshas Kisi. So, way back in the book of Exodus, Moshe Rabbeinu recounts how he was up on Mount Sinai, learning the Torah from God. When he came down and saw the Jewish people in the middle of sinning, he broke the tablets. There's a great deal of explanation for this in the commentaries. Why exactly, how exactly he broke them? Was it that the letters suddenly flew away from the stones so that it immediately became too heavy for a man to hold? Was it that he reckoned that if he broke the tablets, the law would not be in force and it would exculpate the Jewish people retroactively? Any number of scenarios are plausible. But in Moshe Rabbeinu's retelling of the story here in the book of Deuteronomy, in Chumash Devarim, he reveals something that we did not know before. Actually, not much at all was known at this point in the story because he's talking to a new generation. The generation that's now going into Israel was not the same generation that saw the revelation at Sinai or the shattering of the tablet. So he's telling the new generation something from one who was there. He was in the room where it happened. So in recounting coming down from the mountain, seeing the golden calf, Moshe says, "Ve'espais b'shnei haluchais, ve'ashlichem me'al shtei yadai, ve'ashabrem le'enechem." I took the two tablets in my hand, I threw them, and I smashed them before your eyes. Le'enechem. What does that mean? Before your eyes. Here's one explanation that comes to us from about 80 years ago, in the mid 1940s. Rabbi Avram Mordechai Alter was the Rebbe of Ger at the time. He was known as the Imre Emes. He had fled Poland during the war and come to Palestine, where he davened for his Hasidim amongst the entire Jewish people, that we would be spared from the complete destruction that was taking place in Europe at the time. Ger, the community of Gerer Hasidim, was a major portion of Polish Jewry before the war. There were probably about as many Gerer Hasidim in 1939 as there are Jews in Canada today. So just imagine if every single Jew in this country were a Gerer Hasid. Wouldn't that be interesting? Anyway, the Gerer community, along with most of Polish Jewry, was murdered in the Shoah, and a slim remnant remained. So a certain Gerer Chassid came to Rabbi Alter in Jerusalem about 1946 or so. The Imre Emes passed away in 1948 during the War of Independence. So this Chassid no longer had any family. His entire family had gone up the chimneys, and his faith had gone that way too. He now wore the shorts and sandals and the hat of a kibbutznik, a secular pioneer of the early state years. But he missed his Rebbe, so he made an appointment and walked in to meet the Gerer Rebbe, who burst out in tears when he saw this Jew. That, of course, brought the man to tears as well. They embraced and they wept for all they had lost. And after a long while and a lot of tears, the Rebbe told him this. He said, "You remember in Parshas Eikev, where Moshe breaks the tablets?" That's what the Gerer Rebbe said to this chassid, or former chassid, or soon-to-be chassid again, whatever. You remember what Moshe Rabbeinu said. He said, "Ve'espais b'shnei haluches v'ashlichem ma'al shtei yadai v'ashabrem la'einechem." Why did Moshe say la'einechem? Why did he emphasize that he was breaking them before your eyes to the Jewish people? If he would have turned aside and broken the tablets out of view, Would that have been any better? Because, said the Rebbe, Moshe was saying that the tablets were shattered before our eyes and only before our eyes. The Jewish people needed a wake up call. We needed a patch. We needed Moshe to get our attention. So he broke the tablets before our eyes, but only before our eyes. The Rebbe continued, that means that while the tablets are broken before our eyes, there's another level of reality where the tablets are not broken, and they never will be broken, and they cannot be broken. He said, my family, the Ger Rebbe's own children and grandchildren who were murdered in Treblinka, and hundreds of thousands of his spiritual children, his Chassidim, were killed in the Holocaust. He said, my family and your family, all the Chassidim, all the Jews of Europe are broken, and we're smashed, and we're shattered. But we should know it's only le'enechem. It's only before our eyes. There's another level of reality that's hard for us to see, but there, your family, my family, all the communities of Poland and Hungary and Ukraine and Russia and all the other kehillas, all the families, our entire people, back to Avram Avinu is not broken. They are whole, they are complete, they are one. At that level, we are not broken, we never will be broken, and we never can be broken. I tell you that story because it fits with the Parsha and because it tells us something important, maybe essential. Maybe it's the essential point of who we are and how we live and how we should look at the world around us. And that is that what you see is not the ultimate reality. The world we see around us, in its brokenness, in its darkness, in its seeming moral vacuum, that's not all there is. There's more, and the Jewish people have always known that. It's interesting and informative and important to see how you appear in the eyes of others. Not to take that as the be all and end all, but it's good information to have. There's an article from this month's Atlantic magazine, which is a fairly reputable, maybe a little left of center journal from America. The headline speaks for itself. And that headline says, Canada is killing itself. If you make your way through this article all the way, and it is a longie, you'll see what you no doubt already know. In less than 10 years, medical assistance in dying is on its way to become a leading cause of death in Canada. People killing other people is now among the major causes of death in this country. And it's moving so fast, the medical profession literally cannot keep up with the demand. The market has moved so fast, it's way, way out of anyone's control. We've been talking about this horror in our show for over a decade now. But let's reiterate, for those just tuning in Jewish thinking and law, life is sacred. We must do almost anything, with very few exceptions, to preserve and to save life. We are categorically forbidden to take a life. That is murder. And that is the correct translation of lo sirtzach, thou shalt not murder, which is on the top 10 list that we keep here in Shul for easy reference. You cannot kill someone else, even if we think it's for the best, even if they ask us to, even if they pay us to, even if we think it's to their benefit. That calculation is wrong. So a society, be it the Netherlands or Canada or some states in the US, now the UK, say that personal autonomy is really the supreme virtue. And if someone wants help in dying, the state is violating their human rights by denying them their right to die. This is absurd. It's moral error. It's a moral crisis. And if you read this article or even a summary of it, you'll see that the wheels of death are turning so fast, there's not time for medical ethics even to catch up with the made machine if it wanted to. For anything else, there's tshuva. If you failed in the opportunity to donate tzedakah to our golf tournament, for example, you can do tshuva. You can donate to the Yom Kippur appeal. If you accidentally ate something and later found out that the hashgacha, the kosher supervision, on that particular morsel is not one that we think is completely reliable, you can resolve to do better next time. With murder, there is no next time. When a life is taken, there's no bringing it back. We must protest this with full voice, and we must take the responsibility to tell our doctors, tell our families, our relatives, our healthcare proxies, write it out, sign it, get it notarized, do whatever you have to do to make sure that we will not have any portion in this whatsoever. Medical assistance in dying is diametrically opposed to every value in Torah. It used to be diametrically opposed to the medical profession and to the rules of civil society. But apparently, those things are up for revision, as is laws that once protected citizens from things like this. The reality around us in society is that we're the crazy ones. That's how it looks. Why aren't we on the bandwagon with personal choice and legalized mercy killing, euthanasia, whatever nice words you want to package it in? The other reality is we have seen societies again and again through history go down this path. We know where it leads. We want no part of it whatsoever. In less than 6 weeks, we'll be davening with all our hearts for God to inscribe us in the book of life. That should be our most fervent and heartfelt prayer. We should turn aside and encourage everyone we know to turn aside from this dark and destructive trend that is, as we predicted, already quite out of hand. We have been, we are, and we will continue to be the people that shouts, choose life, even in a broken and shattered and morally decrepit world. Please, God, may the coming weeks bring us the appropriate preparation for a healthy and happy and sweet new year. May all our people everywhere know only life and health and happiness and peace. Shabbat Shalom.